because I'll tell you what, you give me a lot of strength, and I've felt so encouraged by you. And about 4 weeks ago, I had a very encouraging meeting. Just so you know, there are some things happening in the country that are changing the political landscape and changing the Communist Manifesto that we're trying to follow. And I met with 25 sheriffs in the Panhandle of Texas and Amarillo, Texas. All 25 were there for a 4-hour class that I give called The Constitution for Peace Officers. They all loved it. The sheriff who actually had us at his facility, his training facility in Randall County, Sheriff Richardson, came up to me afterwards, shook my hand, walked me to my truck, and he said, "You know what, Sheriff Mack? We just got to start doing this stuff." And that is the answer. It is, and we're having people get on board. And you need to make sure that your local officials read this and know and understand the principles of state sovereignty, and that, folks, this is the only solution left. If we're going to keep it peaceful, this is the only one left. Now, I admire what other groups are doing. I admire what Bob Schultz has done. I've known Bob for about 20 years. I admire what all of you are trying to do to restore freedom. But we need to make sure we keep it simple. The message is simple. We keep it simple because we do it in our own backyards. You don't have to worry about 535 corrupt politicians. Do you want to know how corrupt they are? Who gets better benefits? 535 lying politicians in Washington, D.C., or our veterans who have stood and fought for our country? Yeah, that's an easy one to answer, isn't it? That's pathetic, and that's tyranny at its worst. And then we have, I got interviewed last Sunday by BBC, and they said, "Well, why are you guys picking on Barack Obama? You know, is it because of his race, blah, blah, blah?" And I said, no, it's because one of the main reasons is this. Because he thinks that we should have our young soldiers risking their lives in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he says we have a war in Iraq and we need to have them get killed in wars while we refuse to secure our own borders. And he's willing to risk the lives of your children and mine for his own political gain, and he will not secure our borders. And he's willing to compromise your security, your liberty, and your safety for his own political gain, because that's all this has been. And Clinton did it, and Bush did it, and now he's doing it. And we have got to secure our borders or stop pretending we have a war on terror. You know, because it is a pretense. Yeah. So, now I'm going to read to you what Justice Scalia said at the very end of the decision here. Okay? He said this. This is the United States Supreme Court shaking his finger at the United States Congress. And it goes like this. The federal government may neither issue directives requiring the states to address particular problems. They can't even tell us to address particular problems. It's right here, black and white. Or command the state's officers or those of their political subdivisions to enforce or administer a federal regulatory program. It matters not whether policy making is involved, and no case-by-case weighing of the burdens or benefits is necessary, because such commands are fundamentally incompatible with our constitutional system of dual sovereignty. End quote. Folks, that's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Now, my favorite quote is on the very back page, okay? My favorite quote from the ruling. And if every politician, and I hope all of those that you are running for office will keep this in mind, this decision is based on this kind of motto. Quote, and it's in the decision, it's in here. But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions. Let me say that again. But the Constitution protects us from our own best intentions. It divides power among sovereigns and among branches of government precisely so that we may resist the temptation to concentrate power in one location as an expedient solution to the crisis of the day. End quote. That's all right in here. Boy, there's a lot in this little booklet, isn't there? Folks, a crisis of the day that our own government causes and then comes to the people and says, you need us to fix it. We need you to get out of the way. Okay? That's what we need. And when I decided to sue the federal government, I knew there would be repercussions. But I said, at that time, I had had enough. I said, no more. No more incursions, no more intervention, no more overreach, no more telling us what to do, no more acting like you're our boss, no more acting like you need to be here to try to take care of us and save ourselves from ourselves because we're so stupid we can't even provide ourselves with our own health care. We got to have you do that. But when it says the states don't have to enforce a federal regulatory program, do the states have to take nationalized socialistic Obamacare? No. Not one iota. Your state can stop all of that, and your states and counties can make the federal government irrelevant in everything they're trying to shove down our throats.